So welcome back to Dapp University, and we're live, right? Let's see here. Yeah, we're live. Awesome. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to cover. So Ethereum is heating up like crazy. We smashed past our previous all-time high, rocket up into the $1,600, almost $1,700 range. Lots of other DeFi tokens have been pumping like crazy. Ones I want to talk about today that I personally hold and projects that I'm excited about. Two big use cases for Ethereum are, heating up really fast. They're emerging, and I want to talk about those today. And the countdown continues to ETH Cme Futures launch in just a matter of days. So I've got a lot of people jumping in the chat here. So the camera is going kind of crazy. Let's see if I can fix that here. Sorry, everybody. I got a little problem with the live stream. Awesome. I think we're good now. Let me just make sure my camera's working okay. Everybody see me okay? Full screen? Make sure my camera's working okay. Everybody see me okay? Awesome. Full screen? Good. Sorry, I gotta have a little feedback loop there. All right, cool. Yeah, no worries. So we got a lot to cover today in today's stream. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Still working on some of the kinks with this live stream setup. This is a brand new format of video I've been trying for the past couple weeks. I appreciate your patience, and I think people are liking these videos, so we'll probably keep doing it from here. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory. On this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish, head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. So let's start off with Ethereum. So yesterday in the stream, we talked about Ethereum had just broken its all-time high and what that meant. I talked about how ETH would probably enter into price discovery mode, just finding, where can we go from here. So, we entered into the $1,600 range, almost close to $1,700 when we were really heating up yesterday. So it looks like it found, a little bit of a peak there. It started to come down a little bit. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't think anything has fundamentally changed that would make this, the top for ETH, like a long-term top. I think we'll probably correct a little bit before we keep going up here. ETH tends to trade that way. So, you can see what's been happening lately, especially. It kind of goes up and then down and up and down and up and down. And here I talked about yesterday, we were kind of seeing some resistance. And we're making higher lows. And again, as always, like I'm not a big TA guy. I'm not, a price oracle. I don't claim to know exactly what the ETH price is going to be on any specific date in the future. But I'm just looking at the big picture, looking at how do I feel about this situation, and I feel good. So yeah, I feel good. Yeah, definitely a long-term holder for sure. So let's take a look at another DeFi project that I'm personally invested in. I've been in it for a while. So this is Aave. So again, it's not investment advice. I'm not telling you to buy Aave. But basically, Aave is a savings and lending platform. I'm talking about a lot on my channel. I bought into Aave last year, back when it was the ETH Lend token, at about 19 cents. But it changes how they denominate it. So like the Aave token added an extra zero here. So like the Lend token still exists. It's like they added 2 zeros. So it's like $4.25. That's what Lend costs. And then Aave is $425. So if you could think if I had bought the Aave token, if it existed back then, it would have been about $19. So yeah, it's done pretty well. I've been happy about it, but yeah, it's crazy. We'll have to see what happens with Aave. It's it's at a pretty sharp run up. I'm curious to see what happens next. This is an asset that's much newer than ETH, less price history, less kind of data to go off of to determine what's going to happen next with Aave. I don't really know, to tell you the truth. But I'm super happy that I've been an Aave holder. If you've been watching this channel, you probably saw me talking about Aave a lot last year. They were definitely a leader in the DeFi boom that was happening. That kind of, a lot of people think it was a big part of why we kicked off this big bull run that we're a part of now. Somebody says ETH has dipped to 1575. Do you think it can go lower? I think it probably can go lower than 1575. We'll see. yeah, not financial advice. I think we can. Like I said, ETH kind of tends to oscillate like this. It's very undulating. We'll probably kind of go up and down and up and down, and that we could see a sharp parabola at some point with ETH. I mean, we saw that here, right? It was kind of going up and down, and then it just really lifted off to that next level, right? We get to see that again. We're seeing a little bit of that right now, and it could continue on, right? We could kind of see these big leg up that happened over the summer. I bought a bunch of ETH right here over the summer, and that's exactly what happened. We went from like 245 like up to 387 in a matter of days. It was pretty crazy. I remember when that happened. Okay, so let's talk about some of the other developments that are going on in the space right now. So ETH CME futures are launching in a matter of days, and I've been talking about this a little bit on the channel. So if you're not familiar with the CME futures, basically CME stands for Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and futures are basically just a derivative product in the financial industry that lets people get exposure to an asset and buy contracts that represent the underlying asset itself. And they're basically betting on the future price of something, okay? It's a contract where they make money if their prediction is right and they don't if it's wrong, right? So, excuse me. That's an oversimplification, but that's the big picture, okay? So, Bitcoin has had futures on the CME since I think 2017, and part of the superstition there is that like CME futures could be bad for the ETH price, because when the CME futures launched for Bitcoin, people think that had something to do with ETH or Bitcoin being shorted into the ground. We'll see. That could be complete coincidence from last time. I mean, maybe the market found a top on its own. Who knows if CME was a factor back then. I saw another tweet that was basically saying, no narrative is final until I can see a price action begin, but I'll explain my theory. I do think CME launch will cause volatility because it'll flutter people's PTSD. As soon as everyone realizes it's not the source of a macro top, ETH full sends up. So that's a plausible that's a plausible take, right? Some people, who don't like ETH very much are responding to the comments and say melt up. So, kind of the opposite take, that ETH will get, sent to the ground. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll see. But that's one thing to think about is, maybe people are a little shaky about the CME futures launch and are waiting to see what happens with that. I just realized I was not sharing my screen. Here's the tweet I was talking about. Maybe people are waiting on that, kind of seeing, kind of wondering what is going to happen with the CME launch before they, decide to pile in ETH and expect it to, go more full send. So we'll see. So let's talk about more use cases for Ethereum, the technology itself, that I think is going to have an impact on Ethereum adoption, which I think does have an impact on the price of Ether. I've been talking a lot on this channel. If you look at the data, basically, the more people use the protocol itself, it tends to have an exponential relationship on the price of the asset itself. That's just what the data shows in the past. There's a lot of theories about this, like Metcalfe's law, basically the network effect. The value of a telecommunications network is proportional to the square of the number of users of the network. I think that's what it says, basically. So the idea is like, the more active addresses there are on Ethereum, then basically the price can go up exponentially. I talk about how, let me just pull up my whiteboard here. We'll see if that thesis proves true, but the person who introduced me to that idea is Raoul Pal, CEO of Real Vision Finance, former Goldman Sachs executive. Was pretty influential during the last financial crisis, I believe, and saying some things that people didn't. He was calling a lot of the cryptocurrency price action last summer before he started taking off. But, I talk about this a lot in the live streams, where basically like people get exposure to ETH two ways. They get exposure through like cryptocurrency. So like people say, what is crypto? Then they associate with BTC, and then they go down that rabbit hole. And the next logical point is ETH, right? But ETH has another entry point, which is basically tech, right? So tech, DeFi, etc. and then that trickles down into ETH, and that basically brings in a whole new category of users that aren't just speculating on the cryptocurrency itself. Now, I think a lot of people are using ETH or using DeFi or trying to make money somehow. I don't think that's bad. I think that's going to be a lot of the other users of the tech right now are people who are trying to make some sort of money. But I think there's good legit use cases for that long term. I think that like interest-bearing accounts are going to be a thing for the future for ETH, like DeFi. I mean, some of the real rudimentary financial instruments, just like savings and lending, I think are going to be huge in DeFi for the long term. That's why I'm so bullish on Aave. That's why I hold Aave tokens. Because I always talk about it's the use case the average Joe can understand. If you put your money in a stable coin and you put it into an app that earns you better interest in your bank account, why wouldn't you do that? Now, there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't do it right now because it's risky, right? I'm not advocating that. I'm not telling the average Joe to just like go liquidate your bank account and put it into DeFi. But long term, that's an incredibly bullish use case, okay? So anyways, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is, the more people get exposure to this through the tech alone, the more bullish I think that is for the price of ETH if the whole idea of Metcalfe's law is true and that relationship with the number of active addresses to the value of the cryptocurrency itself. So we'll see how that plays out long term, but it's pretty compelling. Especially if you overlay the Bitcoin data with the Ethereum data and the fact that Ethereum also has a separate entry point than just Bitcoin's store value price speculation. So, the reason I want to talk about that is another big use case for ETH coming up. So I talked about the futures contracts, right? Basically on CME. So now I want to talk about futures. Well, not just futures. Futures are a derivative product, okay? So derivatives, I think, are a huge part of ETH. So we talk about DeFi being a huge killer use case for blockchain technology. Most of the activity in DeFi happening right now is on top of Ethereum. It's the most advanced blockchain with most users, with the cross-section of those two things. It's a pay-to-play system. DeFi just makes sense, okay? I think derivatives is going to be a huge part of Ethereum adoption because I'm actually making a video about this. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out that video when it comes out, probably on Friday. So derivatives are a huge part of the financial market right now, okay? Think about like, futures is an example we just talked about, options, swaps. There are these like derivatives products that like people can kind of like, provide. Banks kind of, some people say that like the other derivatives products are representative of those things, like they're kind of mashed up with those other things. I'm not a huge finance guy, not a huge trader of those types of things. So that's not really my total area of expertise, but I do understand, from a high level, like what's going on with the derivatives world, why they're so huge, and why this could be so huge for Ethereum. Is basically the derivatives market is massive. It's like $1 quadrillion. All right, so that's a huge amount of money. So like the global stock market is like $69 trillion, I want to say. Maybe it's like 70. I don't have the numbers totally off the top of my head. The bonds market it's bigger than that. It's not 100. Sorry, I said 1 quadrillion. Yeah, 1 quadrillion. Yeah, 69 trillion, I want to say. Anyways, the whole idea is the derivatives market is the biggest market basically, and part of the reason is the derivatives market itself. Derivatives markets tend to be like way bigger than the things that they actually represent. So that's what derivatives are. They're basically a way of trading contracts and getting exposure to things that you don't necessarily have to own yourself. And you're typically talking about long-term bets on what's going to happen with those. People use them for speculation. People use them for hedging. Basically, you can think about a derivative in a simple way of like a concert ticket is a derivative. It's basically a contract that you have the right to claim a seat at a future date for a music performance in a certain venue, okay? So you could sell that ticket to somebody else if you don't want to go to the concert anymore. You could flip the ticket for a higher price, but that's kind of the idea, is that you have this ticket, but you don't actually own the seat, right? It's just your claim on the seat, right? So it's not a perfect analogy, but it's close. So anyways, Why are we talking about derivatives? So part of it is if ETH can even secure a small percentage of this 1 quadrillion market of derivatives, then like that's a huge amount of adoption for ETH right now. So if we can basically, let's just say even 1%, right? If that value gets secured on top of ETH to do derivatives trading of any kind, that would be insane. And that doesn't necessarily mean the price, that doesn't necessarily mean ETH's market cap goes up by, 1% of a quadrillion. But by the other things we talked about kind of in the stream and on this channel, like about the number of active addresses, having a relation, I think it's going to have a significant impact on the price of ETH. It's just hard to say exactly how much, okay? So again, not financial advice, but I think that's what's going to happen. So let's talk about some projects in the space. So Open is a derivatives platform that you can trade options with on top of Ethereum. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that they just raised $6.7 million in a Series A led by Paradigm, okay? So I explain the big picture and show you examples of how this is like taking place and how this is really coming together to show you that it's happening. Like this reasoning that I'm telling you here about the derivatives market being so massive and the fact that we can capture some of that and bring it onto ETH, like it dangles a huge carrot for people to try to crack that nut and get this working. And that's exactly like what projects like Open are doing. That's why people are giving them, $6.7 million to try to crack this, because basically if options can work well on Ethereum, it's massive, right? It's massive. So you can do it a few ways. You can do options on crypto assets themselves. You could do options contracts on other things outside of the crypto space through synthetic assets. That's what Synthetics basically does. Synthetics is a protocol that lets you do that. Other apps get built on top of Synthetics. So like, you could trade options for anything on ETH really. You know what I mean? So here's the other thing you gotta understand. Talk about the, derivatives markets being bigger than the underlying things that they're trading. So like, yeah, think about it. If we trade crypto derivatives, that could be huge too, because crypto market cap's only about $1 trillion. Okay. I mean, I say only, that's massive. That's a huge milestone. It's incredible that we've crossed that, but it's only $1 trillion compared to, like I was saying, the stock market being like, I think it's $69 trillion. So the derivatives markets could be, for cryptocurrencies themselves, could be way bigger. I mean, it could be, 10 trillion. That's just a number I'm just throwing out there. It may not be 10 trillion, but that's the whole idea, is that the derivative market of the things that they're trading could be way more. Okay, so that's huge. All right. So a lot of people also ask me, like, what are some things besides DeFi that's going on with Ethereum? Well, there are lots of other things that people are experimenting with. One right now that's taking off a lot is NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, okay? So NFTs basically are tokens on top of Ethereum that don't represent money. They represent unique individual objects. So think about a token like Ethereum tokens, ERC20 tokens. These are cryptocurrencies that basically represent a money where each token is exchangeable one for another token. So let's take any ERC20 token, like the Aave Land token that I was just talking about a minute ago. I don't exactly know Aave's total supply off the top of my head. I can just look here on my chart. Max supply is 16 million. Okay. So any of the 16 million Aave tokens I can exchange for one another. Okay. And they're worth the same. One Aave token's worth the same as another Aave token. That's what's called a fungible asset. So basically, fungibility means there's no hierarchy among each member of the asset itself. Everything inside the class of that asset is worth the exact same. Now, a non-fungible asset is different. There's a hierarchy among the asset class itself. Like you can't just exchange one for one. So think about like baseball cards, for example, if you're in the United States, or Pokemon cards is probably a better international example. So, trading cards, there's different, different rarity to each card. Like a holographic Charizard's not going to be worth the same as like some card that there's like 100 of in every other deck that you buy, right? Like there's a clear difference in the value of those things based on their rarity. So you can represent that with non-fungible tokens on top of Ethereum. Okay, that's what NFTs are. That's what it stands for, NFT. So we can do that digitally, and people are exploring new use cases for NFTs all the time. One big company that's doing this is Rarible, okay? And they just raised $1.75 million in seed funding, okay? So this is another trend that's taking off. I was doing videos about this last year, talking about this a big trend that would come up in blockchain. It's happened. People were throwing money at trying to, see what happens with this space, see what sticks, see what people actually use them for. I mean, that's one of the crazy things about blockchain right now is a lot of stuff we're just throwing to a wall and see what sticks, right? And I think people need to understand that with the space, it's so innovative, it's so new, that we don't really know the answers to all the questions yet. And that's what's exciting to it about me. I know that kind of freaks some people out, but that's just the nature of the industry right now. But I think it's cool. I think it's really exciting because that means we get to see what works and what doesn't. One project that has been big in the NFT space lately has been the hash masks. So people are experimenting with digital art, and we're asking the questions, is digital art valuable? We see debates about this all the time. Like, if you can just have a unique image and put it in a token, like, who cares if you can just screenshot the same image, and save it on your desktop? Some people will say, yeah, I don't care. Like, there's no value in that for me. But some people say, no, there is value in that. Like, I'm the owner. I have the claim on this as the NFT. I'm not like I'm weighing in on one side or the other. I'm just telling you both sides of what people think about this. But I think Hashmax, I can't remember exactly how much they raised in their initial launch, but it was pretty crazy. Let's look at their contract. I don't exactly know. Yes, I think it was like 10,000 Ether. So that's pretty crazy, right? So people at least think all the hash masks in the world are worth $15 million. That's pretty nuts, right? So we're experimenting with this stuff. I think a lot of them are speculators. I think a lot of people are just kind of trying to wait to flip the masks at a higher price, speculating on these assets themselves rather than actually believing in the digital art. It's hard to say, but at least the speculators think they're worth $15 million. So yeah, that's what's going on. All right, let's answer some questions here. So somebody says, I remember one of my videos explaining what accounts we need to open to invest. I can't find that video. We need an account. We need a wallet. What else? So I'm assuming you're talking about opening an account to, let's just go down the DeFi path of like investing in DeFi. Or you want to use DeFi at all? Well, the first thing I would say, you need some sort of cryptocurrency exchange where you can either connect a bank account or a debit card. Okay, if it's a small amount of money, you could use a debit card. Like if it's less than $500 or something like that. On the grand scheme of things, that's relatively small. Now it's a lot of money for some people, but that's what I'm gonna consider a small amount of money. I think most exchanges will let you deposit like $500 or less the debit cards. Some might be higher now, it might be $1,000. But you need to sign up for exchange. You need a KYC in most cases. Coinbase.com is an example. You do that. Basically, you buy. If you're going to use Ethereum, if you're going to DeFi on Ethereum, you need ETH to pay the gas fees. So you need ETH in the very least. I would probably just buy ETH right now. You could always swap it for stable coins later. You can buy ETH and some USDC because USDC is redeemable 1-for-1 for US dollars on Coinbase with no fees. So you can buy ETH and USDC. You need an Ethereum wallet. So I'd recommend something like MetaMask, for example. Just go to MetaMask. You just Google that. And I'm going to actually pull this up over here. Just Google that. install that in your browser. You can go to any of the DeFi websites, like go to DeFiPulse.com, and you can see, any of the DeFi sites you want to go to. And then, yeah, you gotta use a lot of caution though. Okay, there's a lot of risks in DeFi. I don't talk about how amazing it is on this channel. It is truly amazing. There's a lot of things that we're trying to figure out still. There's a lot of security risks. You could lose money trying to play around with DeFi right now while it's still early and so high risk. That being said, I really think it is the future. I don't think everything that we have in DeFi right now is going to be the future, but I think there's some. I think some of the things that we have right now in DeFi are game-changing technologies that are here to stay and will be disruptive in the financial industry. I just think I think that's true. So that's what you need. If you want to trade, you can trade on Uniswap, you can trade on 1inch, you can trade on, any of those platforms. But you're taking your own risks, just so you know. It's like, I do it, I know that lots of other people do it. Lots of people made a lot of money doing it. Lots of people lost a lot of money doing it too. So just want to make sure you know all the risks that you're getting into. All right, let's see here. Somebody says DeFi is here. It's not the future. It's now. Loopring Dex is minting millionaires. I mean, it's true. Like, in one sense, it is true. Like, DeFi is here, works now. There's lots of people, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars that flow through DeFi on a daily basis. In one sense, that is true. I mean, yeah, he's right. Loopring Dex is minting millionaires. It's true. It is true. I mean, there are people who already made millions of dollars on this cryptocurrency bull run who bought in during the bear market. I mean, you could have bought ETH for $80 in December of 2018 or 19. I think it was 19. Yeah, I mean, I was here through that whole period, accumulating ETH, all that kind of stuff. It's 100% true. You just have to keep both things in perspective. Like, people who are just getting in now, who like haven't used an Ethereum wallet before, they're gonna run into some gotchas, I'll say. Also, the other thing with DeFi, if you're gonna try it for the first time, try with a small amount of money. Even if you can afford to throw, thousands of dollars into DeFi, don't start with that. Like, I don't like to give financial advice, but I do want to give financial warnings. Like, don't go out there and just throw around large amounts. Test with small amounts if you're gonna do it. Somebody says, does taking profits in DeFi mean pulling it back into ETH? You certainly can if you believe the ETH price is going to go up long term. I mean, like I said, I'll tell you what I personally have done. Some of the DeFi airdrops that I got for free, whenever they pumped to a large number where I thought they would cool off, I traded them back into ETH because I believe in ETH longer term. That's just personally what I've done. Somebody says, what I think about Aave or comp. So I personally hold Aave. I mean, I got some comp tokens during the yield farming stuff when I was kind of doing that back when it was, in the early days, kind of really hot. I cashed out a lot of my comp. I think it's an awesome app. That's personally what I did. I still hold my Lend tokens though. I got it when it was Aave. Show you on the screen here. I'm sorry, I got it when it was Lend, right? So basically, the Lend token still exists. So the Lend token is $4.25. It's denominated differently. So like I bought the Lend token at like 19 cents. All right, let's see if we got any more. So somebody says, don't waste your time on L1. If you are small time, you will lose money on Aave adjusting gas fees. There is no liquidity on L1. So there's some truth to that. So if right now, the gas fees on Ethereum are incredibly high for a few reasons. One, the gas price. And number two is just the price of Ether. So that's how Ethereum transaction fees work. Basically, it's based on demand. So the more people want to use the network at any given time, the gas price is higher. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. So you can see ethgasstation.info. So the current gas price is $3.65, which is pretty high. Like last summer, we saw gas prices go above 500 gwei. You know, I would consider low at this point, like, you know, 100, 100 or less. I mean, when I was building on ETH off of the bear market, I mean, low gas prices were like 15 gwei, like 5, 10, 15 gwei, but it's gone up like crazy. It's based on demand. So that's how Ethereum works when the gas fees work. So gas is a fixed unit whenever you're talking about the computational resources required to do a transaction. So like whenever I send ETH around on the platform, it's always 21,000, I think. Yeah, 21,000 units of gas. Okay. So it'll always be that much gas, but then the gas has a price, which is based on the network demand. So basically you multiply that gas cost by this gas price, which is 365 gwei. All right. And then that's the actual gas, that's the actual ether cost of the transaction itself. And then, so then you multiply that by the ether cost, which is way higher than it was last summer. And so gas fees are absolutely insane right now. Now, I made a video talking about how that was bad for Ethereum in the short term. Like, go check out that video. This is bad for Ethereum. It is bad for Ethereum in the short term, but the solution to these problems is literally in sight with layer 2 scaling technology. And I explained that fully in that video. You know, we have layer 2 right now. We have lots of really good layer 2 solutions that are like in the middle of shipping, basically. It's just a matter of time before these things get plugged in, integrated into protocols so that there's a similar scaling paradigm across popular applications so people know how to use them. This is a pain point in the short term, but the solutions are literally weeks away. And even if we have delays in some of those solutions shipping and being integrated into the protocols, I still hold by my prediction that layer 2 will be here in 2021. Okay. So the reason I'm this full circle talking about all this is somebody said in the comment a minute ago that if you're a new person, like don't waste your time going and trade on Uniswap with a small amount of money, like you're not going to be in profit. They're probably right. So if you go try to trade on Uniswap right now with a few $100, you might end up paying a few $100 in gas fees. Could kill your trades, you know, and it could just totally cause you to lose money. That sucks in the short term. I wish that wasn't the case, but there's not a lot we can do about that other than just fix the problem with layer 2 scaling, and we're doing that. So I hope everybody understands that, because a lot of people get into Ethereum and say, "Oh, you talk about how awesome this is, but the gas prices suck. It's unusable." But that problem's getting fixed like really soon. All right, everybody. So that's all I've got for today. Hope you like this video. As always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to this channel. It really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty today, you know, try to build your own blockchain application, you know, change your career, become a blockchain developer, get on this exciting industry on the ground floor while it's still early, especially in DeFi. How can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You find any of my free courses. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. If you like those, you want to take the next step, I can show you master blockchain step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. I've helped people with zero coding background become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. I've helped people who are already developers transition into blockchain and make that their new career. I've helped people become freelancers, all that kind of stuff. Okay, I actually had a cool testimonial come in a couple days ago that I wanted to read on the stream today, but I just forgot. Maybe I'll put that on the stream tomorrow. But anyways, that's all I've got. Make sure you click the link down below. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.